Hey guys, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. This is episode 19. A little bit, I think
Mini
more,
episode, kind of.
yeah, it'll be a mini episode. I think we're just gonna focus on the Leafs today because
Yeah.
yeah, they dropped game five. They dropped game four and game five
The
now.
mood here is incredible.
Yeah, just they got kind of curb stomped in game five. Wasn't even remotely close.
Not really, no.
Yeah,
The
I know Seb is hot
shots
right
being
now.
close, making the game close gimmick.
Yeah, I know Seb's hot right now. Not quite sure how Jacob's feeling. I don't think he's feeling too great. So I think this is gonna be the rare episode where I'm the positive one because I don't feel the same way that Seb does. So we'll see how this
Okay.
goes.
What
Very rare
order
that
should
I'm
we
the
go?
positive one.
I feel like Mateo is gonna be the. I feel like Mateo's the voice of
Voice
reason
of
here, so
reason?
maybe you can kind of lead us off with how you're feeling after last night's game. Yeah.
No, you know what? I think Seb should go first, get everything off his chest, and then I'll try to talk him off the ledge once he's done.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going
Okay.
first.
Okay. How about Seb? How about
Yeah,
you go?
like, we don't have.
Seb, you go, then I'll
Before
go.
we start, we
and
don't
then-
have a like a outline today. We usually do have an outline of like stuff we want to hit on, keep us like on track and organized. Today we just said, you know what, we're just gonna hit record and see what happens. So I don't know how this will go. Hopefully, everything is okay. Wi-Fi wise, I don't know if I'm doing too well. Am I?
Yeah,
picked up for you guys
if
at all?
if you see us looking at you, you're breaking up a bit, and you're a little bit behind, it seems too. But honestly, I can mostly understand you. But if you see us staring at you blankly a little bit,
Yeah.
you'll know why.
Yeah.
It is so funny because when you watch back the podcast, there's no network stuff. When you watch it
No.
back. Like Mateo just talks perfectly fine. There's no lag, nothing. But when we're actually recording it, the lag is insane. Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's so hard
yeah.
too. Sometimes it's like I don't want to cut anyone off while they're talking, but then I'm just like behind sometimes. So it's like I start my thought and then you guys are going through. I'm like, oh shit, like I don't want to jump in there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It is what it
okay.
is.
Okay, Seb. Do you want to start off with how you're feeling?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just. I think the biggest thing for me is like, I know deep down in my heart that statistically an upset like this never happens. It's happened what 4 times
Ever.
in NHL
Yeah.
history
Believe so.
that it's actually been like successfully pulled off. I think 4 times. Leafs being one of them in like the 1940s.
And actually, it has happened to them before too. I think they've been on the receiving end.
But you know, we
There has been 4 reverse sweeps.
I have 4 reverse sweeps. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have every reason to be calm going into this. You know, we've talked all year. This team looks different.
Uh-huh.
You know, this team, they play so sound defensively. They stick to a system. They never look panicked. Even in games they're behind, you know, they've. I think especially in the second half, they found a lot better of a comeback ability. I think that was lacking earlier in the year, and they found it as the year went on. They never looked panicked. Defensively sound. Goaltending was great. Goaltending is still great.
Still great,
Don't get me
still
wrong,
great.
That's the one thing I'm probably
Yeah.
not gonna fucking complain about today. But the stark contrast that I've seen in the past 2 games, as opposed to the first 3 games of the series, is maddening to me, to be honest. I truthfully don't understand how it's just there's still some forecheck there a little bit, but in the first 3 games of this series, the biggest way they were scoring goals was traffic in front, getting shots through, and creating chaos in front of the net. And don't get me wrong, I think the Senators in this series have improved a lot in terms of their shot.
You know what I was just about to say was, you said just chaos in front, just like even the weak shots go in, right? And Thomas Chabot's game-winning goal last night was
a shot through traffic, where on that play, Jake McCabe has been good all series, but he needs to move Brady Tkachuk out of Anthony Stoller's face in that play. And like, don't get me wrong, easier said than done. Brady Tkachuk isn't a small guy.
Yeah.
But like,
And
that's supposed to be one of your trademarks.
100%. And let's be
They've
fair.
been good at that the entire series, and they've been good at that this entire season.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And
Out of the front
Seb,
to get one-on-one
let's be
shots.
fair too. Is that goal? There's some luck in it too. Like it's a weak shot from the points, and it just kind of.
But you make your own luck.
You make okay, of course you make your own luck, but like, how many times did the Leafs have the opportunity to score a goal exactly like Thomas Chabot did last night, and they didn't take the opportunity? Instead, they do enough extra stick handle, try to make a pass, turn it over. They had a couple.
Exactly.
I think that's how the Dylan Cousins goal happened on the penalty. Like I'm not.
Sends a saucer to the point with the guy with Adam Gaudette
100%.
Ready to intercept.
Yeah.
And
And I still blame Nylander more for that goal because Nylander's the one who turned it over before that.
Stopped back
Yeah.
he turned it over and then he stopped
Yeah.
back checking on the goal when he definitely could have had Cousins on that
Yeah.
breakaway. I don't care how tired you are. He stopped skating when Cousins. was
100%.
perfect.
So I'm not fussed that the Senators scored. The Shabbat goal was the least of my problems in that game because good teams like the Senators are a good team. They're in the playoffs. Like good teams score goals.
Yeah, and how many like you just said, there were chance after chance after chance.
Countless.
after chance.
Countless.
They were and I think another big issue I'm having right now is the power play. It ties back to
Yeah.
exactly what I was just talking about. This power play was clicking early in the series, solely based off of just getting it through a shit ton of traffic early in the power play because you can't like their penalty kill wasn't.
It was
set.
automatic.
And it gets through to and past Allmark, and they just
Last
completely
night there was
abandoned
too
that
many
series.
plays
I'm
like that
watching this power
Matthews play.
Two games.
Like that Matthews play is the exact
Yeah,
reason
they're-
why this
they're-
power play is
they're-
struggling. That backhand saucer pass or that saucer pass that he tried to get to Mitch to the point, it's a dangerous pass, especially when you run a 5 forward offense where you don't have the defenseman sitting back there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and besides the few either like odd man rushes or breakaways that they had last night, the best chances that they had were just whatever shots that get a rebound in front of the net and the Sens clear it out. But you keep doing that. They're not going to get every single puck. But you need also guys in front of the net. How many times on that power play were we watching where it's literally just Nyes and then there's three other guys surrounding him on the Sens and he can't do anything. It's 3 versus 1.
Yeah.
Tavares is supposed to be in that bumper slot, rotating between the net front and the bumper slot. He has that knowledge to know, but for some reason when I'm watching, it's not happening. And again, Nylander, I'm extremely frustrated with, and I've been frustrated with this entire series. I think we talked about this last podcast.
We did.
How he's been playing, doing too much with the puck, holding on to it for too long, and causing a turnover. And then last night on that Cousins goal,
Yeah.
completely stopped.
On the empty net goal.
And it's bamboozoling. I don't understand what happened to this power.
And how many times
It
did I
was so
see?
hot to start the
How many
series.
times did I see William Nylander last night? And not just Nylander, but I'm gonna specifically call Nylander out on this. A lot of the Leafs offense runs on a dumping chase, and Mateo's gone. a lot of the Leafs offense runs on dumping chase, and dumping chase only works if you chase. And they've done such a good job.
actually force
They've done such a good job of like being able to lose possession of the puck and win it back, especially Austin Matthews and guys like that. Nylander, there was one specific play last night, I believe it was in the third period, where I think it was Tavares or someone dumped it in, and then it rings around the boards, and Nylander doesn't chase the guy. He goes in with some decent momentum and lines him up, and then he just steps back. And I just get frustrated when I see that happen.
And like again it's I'm trying to like sort of reserve myself, but it's really hard not to be frustrated because it's like you're up 3-0 in this series, and every possible inch they could be giving the Senators right now, they're giving
Yes.
them. And this is the Leafs we're talking about.
Yes.
Like, I was just talking about earlier how I have every reason not to be nervous, or like every reason to think that they're still going to close this out. The Leafs would be this era of Leafs would be the one team to allow a reverse sweep pass.
100%.
And just the way they're playing, like I don't understand. It's like it doesn't matter what coach you have, doesn't matter what general manager, doesn't matter what supporting players. It's like no matter what happens, these guys just revert back to this state where they can't, like they just can't. They can't do it. It's so frustrating.
Let me ask you.
I will jump with joy the second they prove me wrong. If they prove me wrong and they close this out tomorrow on Thursday, we're recording this Wednesday night. If they go out tomorrow and they close this, I will be so happy. You won't even believe, because then I'm proven wrong. If I'm proven wrong right now, and what I'm saying, ecstatic.
Okay.
That means,
Okay.
Because this feels like a team that should have it.
Okay, so going into the playoffs, I'm going to ask you a question now. Going into the playoffs, you and I specifically, actually the three of us, eventually Mateo agreed with us too, is that this team felt different. This team felt different from years past. Obviously, I don't have to explain to anybody the demons that haunt the Leafs and why we have a lack of belief with this team, especially this time of year, specifically this time of year. And then we get to the playoffs. As fans, we're more confident in the team. They go up 3-0. And at that point, I know I personally was feeling, and I believe we talked about it on the last show, that this series is effectively over. They looked great. They were the better team. They dominated. They lost 2 games. I think you and I both predicted the Leafs were going to win. The Leafs were going to win the series in 6.
In 6. Yep.
As a fan who has had the experience of unfortunately watching this team lose for 8 consecutive seasons now, what feels different about how they lost those 2 games, and why are you worried now?
Because they completely reverted how they played.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, it looks like a completely different team,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the top guys.
And we've never seen that happen before, right? In a Game 5 when they had a chance to close out a series? In Game 6 when they had a chance to close out the series?
How often have they had to close out a series in 5, right? Really only the Montreal series.
Tampa they did, but they did go on to win that series too. But you see my point.
But even in those series, I think the biggest issue I have right now, specifically with this team, is how solid they looked. In this series,
100%.
They were playing the exact way that they needed to play. And the past 2 games, that has completely disappeared. They've reverted back to this state. It feels like I'm watching the 2020 Leafs all over again, with these and it always comes down to these plays, and it's like they just can't finish on it. How many times have we seen Matthews hit the post late in the past 2 games? How many times have we seen just blown chances, missing the net? Steven Lorentz on the
oh my god.
What was it? I don't know who it was.
Yarncroke.
Was it Yarncroke? Yeah, on the other wing there. How does he not shoot that? Why are you going for the extra?
It's even him. It's even extended to him now. That's what's so upsetting to me, is that fourth line, Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroke have been so I don't know. They've simple. Yes, that's the word. Simple. They've been so simple, and it's like a breath of fresh air every time they go out there, because they go out there, they do the right things. They haven't scored yet. I still think they will score. You're right. It's effective, and I thought that was the perfect opportunity. And I think Lorentz could have done anything else on that play, but I want to know what goes on in that dressing room when there's no coaches there, just the players before the game. I want to know what specifically Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are talking about in front of the whole room, because what the fuck? How is every single player on this team terrified?
I don't understand how you can play completely different from how you played earlier.
They abandoned the playbook last night.
I don't understand. They abandoned the way they play. I don't get it. You won 3 games in this series straight, playing, pucks through traffic, getting traffic, creating chaos in front. How many weird bounce goals have we seen these playoffs? With the
almost exclusively.
In the first 3 games.
Like I don't know if they scored a single goal. Like even the Mitch Marner goal, which was not the Mitch Marner goal, the Austin Matthews goal, where it was the Marner's assist behind the net. Like, that's a high skill play, but that's still just fuckery around the net, and Matthews is there on the doorstep and he just bangs it in. Like, they aren't scoring high flying, high skilled offense goals. They're scoring playoff goals, specifically playoff style goals. Like you said, bang, crash the net, dirty goals, garbage goals.
And they completely pissed away 3 power plays yesterday. 3 power plays with an opportunity to tie that game, and they pissed it away. They fucking pissed it away.
Okay, let me jump in.
The one
Let me
good power
jump in.
play they had, one more thing. The first power play they have in the game, the best power play they had the entire game, best power play they had. A lot of chances generated, not the chances I really wanted, but they had a lot of chances. And then Morgan Riley goes and cross-checks Ridley Gregg into the boards. We're lucky that's not a major. That was a terrible play. Terrible play. That could have been a major. That was bad.
I have before you go, Mateo. I have a stat. This is from Sportsnet Stats. It doesn't give a time frame for this, but it just says, oh no, it does. It says the last 30 power play opportunities in potential series clinching games for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're 0-30. It's unacceptable.
The last Maple Leafs to score.
You need at least 10 of those.
Patrick Marleau against Boston.
Kill me. Just kill me. Like, honestly, just kill me. Just kill me.
Patrick Marleau hasn't been in the league for at least 5 years, man.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's why I think. And before I say this, I hate that people are saying to Leaf fans, you guys are overreactionary, settle down, it's not a big deal, okay? Because this team has given you every single reason in the world to believe it's a big deal. It's over. They're gonna choke again. Here we go. I even tweeted right after the game. I'm like, oh my lord, if they do it again. Because guess what? They give you every reason to think they might. But listen, I think first three go by game in this series. Game 1, crush them. Game 2, don't be Spurs OT winner. Second period was terrible. First period was great. Third period, I think, was a little bit more 50-50. I think you could kind of pick and choose who you think won that period. I'd say it was 50-50. Leafs are patient, score a goal in overtime, take the game. Game 3, again, this time Benoit, I think they played a very solid hockey game. Didn't give up much. I think Stolarz, that's maybe one that he wants to have back, although I saw some people saying they went off Carlos sick. I haven't really gone back to watch the replay on that Brady Chuck goal. Either way, solid game. Played really well, deserved to win.
Oh yeah, that was off Carlo.
Yeah. Won the game in overtime. Game 4. I didn't think they played that bad. I'm going to be very honest. I think Seb said a lot of, they didn't do the stuff that they did before. And I disagree. I think you looked at that first goal that Tavares scores. That's Tavares going to the net. That's Willie finding him on the shot pass, the low shot pass, which is not one of those high skill plays. I mean, it is high skill in the sense that you have to find that stick, but it's still get the puck toward the net, get a tip. That's something that works in the playoffs, and they did it right there. I didn't think that they got ran out of the building. I saw a lot of people talking about that game like they got absolutely crushed. I just didn't see it like that at all. I thought they played a solid road game. Game 4. I thought they played a fine road game. I don't think that there was anything too egregious. I think maybe if you're Stolarz, you want to have one of those back. Which you know what? Fine. We're going to the series now, and the thing that frustrates me a little bit is people are talking about Ottawa like they are some terrible team. Going into the series, I think we kind of had an idea that it would have been a little bit tighter. It wasn't going to be an easy sweep. Like, who had the Leafs winning in 4 games? Like, obviously, fine, whatever. They take one in overtime at home. We already took 3 straight. It is what it is, okay? Last night, I agree. Bad game. Terrible game. Mitch and Matthews said they had their looks and they didn't execute, which to me is frustrating because they've said that so many times in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, I just want them to be like, not good enough, need to be better. And I see some people getting pissed at Matthews.
It doesn't matter how many chances you get. They don't look at that at the end of the day. What they're going to look at is how far did you make it in the playoffs. And an essential part of making the playoffs is having the skill to capitalize on those plays. And for some reason, in the regular season, they can do it all they want. And then when it comes to clinching out a series, you see this every game.
They can do it in games 1 to 4. Who cares about the regular season? They can do it in games 1 to 4. What happens in the evening of game 4 and the day after? Sorry.
I agree. They need to play better last night. Not enough. I saw a lot of people talking about the shot counter and how Allmark, I think it was a 35 save shutout. Whatever. I really don't care. What you just said about the power play, 100% valid. I think this team played 4 very solid hockey games, and in the series, there's highs and lows. I think we see it in every series. I think we are rightfully so so used to this team just absolutely melting down. So when they have a bad game in the playoff, it's like, oh my god, they're going to do it again, which is completely valid and it's fair. I think I had a similar reaction once the final buzzer went, and then you sit with it for a little bit and kind of think about it. And I've come to the conclusion that, you know, we talked about this team being different so much all the time. We talked about going to the playoffs. You guys said it earlier, like in our pre-playoff show, we said that this team's different. And I don't think one bad game in the series didn't make me sway that opinion at all. I think that and I know it's not just one bad game. I know we've had the 8 years before. Trust me, you guys know me. I'm always on that 8 years of absolute misery. Haven't done
But you're standing by what we all think of, that this team is different, right?
Right. I'm not. Listen, I really, really hope I don't look like an idiot at the end of this, because this is the first time in a really long time that I thought this team could do something, and I still think it. I think, you know, a bad game, everyone has them. I think you look at Dallas. Dallas is in a tight series with Colorado right now. They had a terrible game. DeBoer had to pull Ottinger, not because he was playing badly, but the team was so bad in front of him that, you know what, sometimes you just don't have it one night. And I know it's frustrating when it's the playoffs because it feels like you should always have it, but it's not just the Leafs that have nights where they just don't have it. I think you look around.
That's true. That's true.
In the league, and you say, like, they look terrible tonight. And I think, and I mean, like, we're looking at that Battle of Florida right now, and it's ongoing. I don't have the score up. I'll look it up after here, but I think you could look at a lot of that and, like, wow, Tampa doesn't look great. Florida looked like complete shit when they lost 5-1 to Tampa in Game 3, I believe. And, you know, we think of Florida as a team that, rightfully so, they could very well go on and win the cup, and I could definitely see it. And
Battle of Florida's tied 3-3.
Tied 3-3. I just think that this team having one bad game out of 4, and, you know, I think there's a very real argument there that you think that this team could have probably swept Ottawa. And if they swept Ottawa, it would have been like, holy shit, like, I can't believe they swept them, because you go into this series thinking, oh, it's going to be a long battle series. And, like, I had the Leafs in 7. I didn't think that they would go out and win 4 or 5. Like, I thought, okay, maybe 6 or 7. I have them in 7. And I'm not gonna panic when they when they drop a couple in a series where I didn't think they would sweep. Like, they're not playing against a bunch of pushovers.
I think you've got. Sorry, finish your thought.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you have the right idea right now. I think I don't know what's going on in your personal life versus mine, but you've clearly got a much clearer state of mind than I do right now.
I'm so tired of snapping over everything, because that's how I used to be with the Leafs in the playoffs. Where, like, live and die.
I remember,
and it gets tiring. And I've watched a lot more just like general hockey, I think, in the last few years, and I think the more playoffs you watch, the more you realize that in the series you're going to drop a game, and sometimes you just don't have it that night, and doesn't mean you're going to lose the series. I think. I just think, I don't know. I think this team, I think they get it done in 6. I think they come back to Toronto and they win it. And I think
Ottawa.
And I don't even think it's unfair that the reactions like this, like I said earlier, like, they've done it so many times. It's more than fair that anybody is nervous about it, because they definitely,
100%.
Like Seb said earlier, if there's any team to get reverse swept right now, it would be us, because we've seen them drop so many series leads, so many games that we should have won that we just throw away and puke away.
Yeah, and honestly, like, like, it is purely the past talking, because you're right when you said, like, it's just, this team is still different. They're still capable of getting it done. I mean, I even said Leafs in 6. You got to lose 2 to win the series in 6.
100%.
That doesn't make me feel any better, really, because, like I said, like, the past is talking, the past is right, because we've seen this team do this repeatedly. I was actually going somewhere with this, but I seem to have lost my train of thought.
Well, no, it's just like you say that you have to lose 2 to win in 6, and I agree, but I can also see the other side of it where it's like, yeah, you go up 3-0 though, like don't
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
like, kind of expect like if when they dropped game 5, I think for the most part everyone was like, okay, you drop game 5, come back to Toronto, close it out there. I don't think anyone was kind of losing it, and now you lose back to back, and people are snapping, and I completely understand that. I just go ahead, sub.
I had obviously Leafs winning in 6, but when I had the Leafs winning in 6, I didn't expect it to be
3
they go
nothing.
up 3-0, because now you have 4 straight chances to close it out,
Yeah.
and 2 of them are gone.
Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna agree with you on Game 4. I think Game 5's performance is maybe clouding my judgment a little bit. They did
True.
play decently. The comeback was huge in
Mhm.
that game. They came back twice. But even in that game, power play, all those points, like you said earlier, you agreed with me. Power play, all those points still apply. It was awful that game, and they gave
Yep.
up a shorthanded goal. Back-to-back shorthanded goals,
Yep.
by the way, absolutely unacceptable. And I was gonna talk later about how, like, what I think they need to change going into Game 6. The power play is number 1 on my list. I think that needs to be different. And if we don't mind later, I can talk about how I would change it for now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like. I could, in my head, I see the reality where they just close it out in 6 and we forget all of this. This is all a moot talking point. I look overreactionary and everything. Because you know what, the Leafs this season, they have been a little streaky, especially in the regular season. We saw stretches of this where it
Yeah,
seemed like they
yeah.
just forgot how to play their game, and then they get right back on it. And hopefully, this is just a game, like you said, where it's a bad game.
Yeah. I think it can do a lot worse than one bad game in the series so far, because I agree that games 1 through 4, I think they played a great game, and obviously it's a major point in discourse online right now that, I mean, 3 of those games went to overtime. Like, Sens get a lucky bounce. This series could look a lot different right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Like the problem I have with that is like,
Oh, it's
yeah,
not a valid point, but
it could be. Yeah, it could be. I know, but I see a lot of people like, oh, it could have been 3-1 Sens. Well, no. Well, how about you tell Batherson not to make a stupid turnover in the neutral zone and don't do a
If I had-
flyby? Like,
if I had
there's a
$1 million
reasons why you lose a game. Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I think, to me, and I think a lot of it to me is also Berube, because I think when Keefe was coaching this team, right now we would see him purple in the face, just snapping on the bench, losing it. And at the time, I think you look at it and you're like, yeah, like they deserve to be screamed at, they deserve to be yelled at. But looking back on it, it kind of seems like almost like there was panic going on in that room. Like they were kind of like just blowing up at the seams, like on the bench, like just absolutely losing it. And it all comes back from your coach. Like if your coach is snapping and just like I said, losing it, then it can't be that calm in the room. And listen, I know there was different scenarios that led to Keefe ultimately losing it a lot, but we did see him lose it a ton. And I think if this was Keefe right now, I do think that we would have seen a lot more yelling yesterday. And Berube, we knew him as like a kind of a hard-nosed coach, and in a sense he is. But I do think he seems really calm right now. And I also, there was a clip of Matthews snapping his stick and stuff like that. I just don't get the sense that the team really panicked all that much. Like even throughout the game, when
Yeah.
they were down 1-0, I thought they were gonna win, because I don't really think they were cheating a whole ton for offense. I don't like, and we could say
No,
what we want
yeah.
about how they played. I also don't think that they did some of the stuff that we've seen them do in the past, where it was like, I gotta jump for this play, and it leads to more opportunities. 'Cause
Yeah,
in the past, I think we see that game end up being like a 4, maybe 4-1 blowout, where it was
true,
remotely
true.
close.
And I think that's been
you
a
can say what you want about. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's been a common theme this season that we've seen happen, and things like this play out over time this season. And you saw, like, everyone's been very stoic, very relaxed, like you said, not panicking. Like William Nylander, so what? We just lost 3 games, and then they go on, they win the next 3. So what? We just won 3 games. Like nothing, at least publicly, is phasing them, and I don't think we can treat this really any differently.
Well, the
We
thing is,
based on
like,
what we've seen
I
this
don't really
year,
care
this
about
season
publicly
alone.
because like
Well,
they've
publicly,
never
just because
panicked
that's,
publicly. Right. No, I get what you're saying.
I guess so.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
what matters to me is that they've never panicked publicly, and people will see a lot of people shitting on Matthews for his quotes like, "Oh, we gotta put this one behind us." Like, I don't know. What do you want the guy to say?
It's
Like, "Oh
default
my God,
answers.
like
I'm not
we
moved.
ended it here." Yeah, like I
Yeah,
don't know.
we're
Like,
losing series, man. Like honestly,
yeah,
just wrap
yeah.
it up. Let's just do
I don't
locker
know.
cleanup today. Like we're
Yeah,
forfeiting.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, if you lose, like, you're gonna drop. Like, it's not the first time that they've dropped back-to-back games in the series. Like, it's not gonna be the last that like anyone on this roster does it. Like, it happens in this series. It does. And even when you're up 3-0, I know it sucks, but it is what it is. And I think going back to the point that Jacob made, they don't seem to be panicking publicly. Like I said, they never really panicked publicly. I don't think we've
Yeah.
ever seen them in this era. I think the only time we could really think that they really publicly panicked was when Willie yelled at them on the bench. Like, I think that was the first time when we saw kind of
That's a
behind
good point.
the curtain, and it was, yeah, you see them unraveling and Willie kind of like just yelling back at them. But what 4-3 Florida over Tampa, by the way. What matters to me is that I don't think I've seen the panic in their game. Like, even last night when they didn't play well, but they still, I don't think they opened up too much defensively. I know we had that one really nice goal line clearance by Mo early, and then Tanev has a nice play at the back door on another kind of goal line clearance similarly, but they didn't open up all that much. Like, they didn't give, I don't think Ottawa had any, like, jarring chances aside from the 2 goals that they had. And I don't know. I kind of have a hard time losing it and thinking it's over when this team has played differently than we have seen them in the past. And listen, you have to score goals, and I think that's the one thing that's been reoccurring is I don't think they've scored enough. But
Yeah.
like, we'll get to it with the lineup decisions because they do need to score more. And Berube acknowledged it. You gotta find a way to put the puck in the back of the net at the end of the day. You can't get shut out in a game. But I don't know. I kind of refuse to let one bad game and one shot through a screen in overtime completely flip my view on this team that I've kind of felt for the last like month of the season when they've constantly. And I get playoffs. I get it's completely different. Like, trust me, I know I'm not a first time fan with this team. I've, like, since I was little, grew up watching the Leafs, and then, I mean, countless meltdowns and everything. But you can't. I don't know. I just feel like the way that they play is so different. And honestly, I think the goaltending is great. I think people who want to go to Wolf for game 6 are kind of nuts. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you want Stolarz to do? I see people making the point that. Yeah, he's like, they're like, oh, a 6-7 goalie can't fight through a screen. It's completely different when there's 4 bodies in front of you. Like, what do you want the guy to do?
No, I liked.
I don't know.
I don't see that play at all. I don't see that. I don't see that point at all. Like,
Yeah.
do you want Stolarz to start clearing the guys out the way
That's what I'm
himself?
saying.
It's not like It's not like Brady Kachuk is a tiny little guy.
The other
Brady
thing was-
Kachuk's
He's big.
The other
pretty
thing was,
sizable human being.
I would kind of agree if it was just Brady in front of the net. But you have McCabe, you have Brady, you had another
100%.
Up front
Yeah.
as well. You have Matthews trying to
There,
get that
there was
block
like 3
shot.
layers. There were like it was a 3-layer screen, and it doesn't matter how tall you are, you're not seeing that puck. And he got his shoulder to it. It goes off his shoulder and off the bar and in.
Stolarz also last night. Sorry, Stolarz last night made some huge saves too. Like he made a save off of Brady Kachuk there. It was a one-timer. That
Yeah.
completely saved their game up until that point. If
Yeah.
that goal goes in, I mean, they lost anyways. But if that goal goes in, like, it's a different game from that
Yeah.
point on, and it kept them in the game for longer. He made a few big saves like that, and he's done that all series. He's made a bunch of huge breakaway saves. Like, game 4,
Yeah.
I don't know what you want him to do. Like,
Yeah.
I just think
mean,
it's
like a
stupid.
shorthanded
People-
breakaway, shorthanded 2-on-1 in game 5. Like, I don't know what you want him to do. Like,
Yeah.
the only reason I could see maybe, and I mean maybe, like, I don't agree with this, but the only reason I could maybe see you switching to Wool is to, like, just get a different look. But I think, again, from what you're saying, like, there's only really been one bad game as a team, and that was game 5. I don't think you need to switch goalies after one bad game.
Hell no.
I think my biggest thing is just that, like, over the past 2 games, the power play has just been extremely concerning, which is
Yeah.
a pattern across
Yeah.
past seasons when they're in a position to close out a series. Like, this isn't
100%.
a new thing, and I think my issue is that I'm seeing small patterns show up again when they have an opportunity to close out a series in a dominant way this time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even just before, when they've had opportunities, they can win it in Game 6, or they can win it in Game 5 or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. Deep down, I there's the Leafs fan in me that is terrified, but I think your perspective now has given me a little bit of
I agree.
a fresher maybe perspective.
And
but,
honestly, I think
the nervousness is still there.
100%.
Yeah.
It is with me
I-
too. Like if they drop Game 6, I don't think they win Game 7. Like, I'm gonna be
no,
very
no.
honest.
I
just-
think
Take a mirror.
I think this is different now going into Game 6 too, because I mean, in a way, kind of all the information has been put out on the table now, if that makes sense. Like Mitch Marner has been saying all throughout the series in his media availability. It gets harder from here. It's only going to get harder. It's not going to get easier. It keeps getting harder. And now I think we've seen the Senators play their best hockey in Game 5, because games 1 through 4, the Leafs are playing their best hockey. The Senators, I don't think, were. Now we've seen both teams play their best hockey. The Leafs know what they can do. They know what's coming at them from the Senators. Now they have to go out there in Game 6 and adjust, essentially. And kind of going back to the goalie thing, I guess I have one small point there. I liked what Berube said going into Game 5, which was he was asked about lineup changes, and he said, yeah, I see no need to make a change to the lineup just because of a loss, because I like this team. And I really liked him doubling down on the team, saying, I have faith in you, I trust you, because, I mean, obviously in years past, it hasn't been anything like that.
Listen, like I said, just to like wrap it up here, because I think we're kind of beating a dead horse at this
100%.
point. But going into Game 6, this team has good goaltending. They're playing a fantastic defensive game, regardless of whether they're winning or not. I think they're defensively, they've been the best they have been throughout their whole the whole Matthews era, and whether that's just the blue line itself or if that's also just the whole team defense, I think they have been fantastic. And I know a lot of people always say, oh, they looked good defensively usually in the playoffs. I don't think it's the same thing. I think before we've seen them give up a lot of chances.
Not even close. Not even
Yeah,
close.
and Joseph Wool came up big, and like people talk about how they played in Game 5 and 6 against Boston, and it's not the same because guess what? Joseph Wool
saved
was
us.
unbelievable. That guy stood on his head.
Those games are the reason why we were saying Joseph Wilson's
100%, dude.
He is literally the only reason they were in those games.
100%.
We've seen the Leafs hold Ottawa to one shot in the third period
Yep.
multiple times this series when the Leafs were
Winning
up.
the game, yes.
When does that
But they're
ever
not-
happen? Like,
Dude, our best defensive game used to be sit back in the shell and just clog up the middle of the ice. And they didn't even do a good job at it because they would sink too far back into the zone, too deep. They would give Boston too much ice.
Yep.
Now it feels a little bit more smothering. And you know what? I think this team has good goaltending. Like I was saying, good goaltending. They have a power play that was clicking until the last couple of games. I don't think it's rocket science to get back to how they were playing before because I think it was very simple. And
it's so
And
simple.
it's
That's
very
why
simple.
Why it was frustrating to watch
Yeah.
yesterday. And
No,
Yeah.
especially with the power play.
100%.
It's like, why are you not doing the
100%.
exact thing that was
Yeah.
working? Why are you switching things up now? Like, I
Yep.
don't understand the
But
the
like I
logic.
said, better goal or good goaltending, better defensive core than we've ever seen. I think this blue line has performed fantastically. I don't think there's been a single game where I thought, man, that guy really struggled tonight.
Tanev
I
has
think-
been just like amazing.
Yeah, he's been a rock, bro. And at the end of the day, like we said before the series, it comes down to the big guys. The big guys haven't played all that great aside from Tavares in the last 2 games, and I choose because we have no other option to give them to not have faith, but say, you know what, you have another chance. And like I said, it's not unheard of for a team to drop back-to-back games when they go up big in a series. Like we see it a lot. Like you go up 3-1 in a series, yeah, you drop.
Last year. And the
Yep.
Stanley Cup Finals, they are up
Yep.
3-0 on the Oilers.
Dude,
dropped
a team
3
that's
straight
desperate.
to Edmonton, and they
A
go
team
to
get
overtime in Game 7.
you get comfortable in the series when you go up 3 nothing. You get very comfortable because you're like, okay, we just saw win one of the next 4. And when you lose the next 2, sometimes it's a little bit of a wake up call because you're like, okay, we only have 2 more chances at this, right? And listen, regardless of how they've done in the past, I think we talked so much about how this team's different, and I'm kind of tired of being so scared of it again because, like I said, they have shown us so many times about how different they are, and we always used to say, "Oh, this team's different. This team's different." When really it was just Matthews has close to 70-goal season. They play the same style, but you know what? Their best player plays like the best player in the league.
We just saw a couple playoff hype videos, and we're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
let's go.
But if you look at the metrics and you look at everything about this team, it is completely different.
It is a
And
very
I don't know. I think as much as I hate to quote, "We had our looks," I think at the end of the day, they actually did. Like, I mean, Matthews hits the post, and when it's 2-0, but there's still plenty of time in the game. There's still 6 minutes, and you know what? He hits the post in overtime too, and I would in Game 5, I wish he buried, or Game 4. Sorry,
For what it's worth, I thought the Knives Matthews Marner line had a good game last night. I think the Tavares Nylander line lost them the game.
I think that Marner was a little bit, and Matthews too, because we saw it cost them. They were a little bit too pretty. I think.
100, totally.
You have to get back, just get into the zone, cycle, get pucks to the front of the net, and that's how you're gonna win this series. And I think they have 2 more games to close out against the Suns team that we didn't, like I said, we didn't think they're not bad. They're a very good team. We went into this series thinking that was gonna be a tight series, and at the end of the day, it looks like it's going to be. It doesn't look like it. You're either gonna win in 6 or lose in 7, or win in 6 or 7. So it's gonna be a close series, and I don't know. I think that they come home back to Toronto, or they go on the road to Ottawa, and they're gonna win. I don't have any. This team's been so good on the road all year. I don't know. I feel like I used to panic a lot more, and this team doesn't make me to panic that much. And I think, you know what, it's okay. They're gonna close it out.
I want to see Nick Robertson back in the lineup, but yeah, they're gonna close it out.
I was about to get to.
Can we go into that now?
I was literally at the end of that. I was about to transition into the lineup changes, and I think I was even before last night. I wanted to see a lineup change, and I get why Berube didn't. I know he wants to keep giving faith in these guys, but I think the biggest change that we need to see is Patch ready for Robertson. I just don't think Patch just can keep up. I think it's a little too quick for him. He's trying his best with his body, like just throwing it around. Go ahead.
Yeah, like with Pacioretty, it's like his biggest thing early in the season was he would get like a massive hit, and it would help your momentum, either bring it back in your favor or whatever. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's just because he missed too much time and kind of lost the game speed, but he's getting a couple decent checks out there. But besides that, like, what is he really doing, man? He's had trouble holding onto the puck, and I don't know if Pacioretty's really ever been a transition kind of player in his career, but he's
never been that great of a skater, I don't think.
He's just, like, he just hasn't really done all too much. And I think at this point, I would rather have an angry Nick Robertson in the lineup, who's probably frustrated with being scratched.
He's scoring if he gets in.
He's scoring if he gets back in the
joke. He's a scratch and score. He's scratched this guy. He scored the game after. Like and it is a joke, but listen, as much as I think Robertson deserved the scratching initially because he takes way too many dumb penalties, and it's not even like, and you could say he's a bit unlucky, like, oh, you missed a stick lift there, but he does it so often that's not luck anymore. You're putting yourselves in these positions, and you have to figure it out.
But he totally deserved.
Yeah.
Totally deserves to be scratched. Don't get me wrong. He had a pretty bad first 2 games. The penalties were dumb, and totally deserved it. But I think at this point, the alternative isn't really better. Max Pacioretty isn't really doing anything. The third line looks awful with him on it. I'm being honest. Way higher ceiling. Robertson and Domi have shown a decent bit of chemistry before. Even if you move back to the McMahon, Domi Robertson line, I think you can afford their defensive shortcomings with the fact that you have the Lawton Lorentz Yarncroke line right below them. You have that advantage with having 2 third lines, and you can kind of, I mean, they'll be in Ottawa, so matchups might be a little tougher, but you kind of have
always
that
to shelter
advantage.
them, though. Like, it's not, your coaches find ways to protect their guys.
I think I have a lot more confidence in Berube being able to do that than I did with Keith. Keith always seemed to be bullied in that kind of matchup game, and like that almost like coaching game where he get bullied in a lot of those like matchups, and yeah, I think that would be the only specific like lineup change that I would make. But I think, what is Mateo
Oh
doing?
no.
Just put in my laptop on the charger.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I think the only other change I would make is, I don't know if this is going to be controversial. I don't think it really is. 2 shorthanded goals in back-to-back games is absolutely
Oh,
unacceptable,
yeah.
and I don't think this 5-forward power play should continue in this
I
series.
agree with you there.
I think they need to make a decision on what they're going to do on that top power play, and I think Nylander, like we talked about, has had a terrible series. I think he needs to be put on power play too, and Morgan Riley should come up, because Morgan Riley's been one of the best players in this series, and even in the past 2 games, I think Morgan Riley has played great. Like, I think him and Nyes and Tavares have been really the 3 top end guys that have.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
If I personally, I think if you're going to go with a get away from the 5-forward power play, I don't want Mo running the point. I want OEL. I just think he shoots a lot more, and I think
That's
Mo
fair.
is one of. If you go back,
I was gonna say either or.
To the double minor in overtime in Game 4, Mo was running that power play, and it was way too pretty. Like, there was a lot of the times he got put to the point, Knives was there, and he doesn't put it on, and I don't think he shoots enough. And I think he's a little too worried about the puck position on the power play, and I can understand it. But like, with the way that this team was scoring early, I think OEL is way better of an option there.
Hey, I honestly, I'm fine with that too.
I mean, he ran the he ran.
I think the big key for me is Nylander should be moved down to power play too. I think that might give him a sort of wake up call that like
He needs it. My God.
Game.
Yeah, I mean, then OEL was the one who ran power play 1 in the Florida in the Stanley Cup final last year. I mean, that's a pretty good thing to have on his resume.
And he did great.
He did great, yeah.
For them too. And I think the second power play needs something. They do absolutely jack when they're out there.
Yeah.
Dude,
I think
it's
Nylander
not
could
even
help
a power
them as
play.
a
It's
better
the
play
third
driver.
line in OEL and Mo. Like, it's not really a power play unit. Like,
It's literally giving the top guys a break, and I think that's an issue. That's a genuinely an issue. I think you can build your whole power. You can build your whole penalty kill when you're playing the Leafs around the fact that it's that one unit, but the Leafs were doing good at it when they were making their power play unpredictable by shooting pucks through traffic and creating havoc in front of the net. And when that doesn't happen, it's easy to combat their power play because they have one unit. There's no sense of danger to it when you can mold your penalty kill around the power play, and we saw it last year against Boston. That would be my change. Go back to 4 forwards, 1 defenseman, because I don't really know what else you can do to prevent those shorthanded goals besides just play smarter. It gives you maybe the assurance.
I think the one last thing is very avoidable. Yeah. I think it's very avoidable.
100% very avoidable.
It doesn't matter if you have a defenseman back there. You cannot give him a saucer passer when Cousins is hanging high. Like,
To be fair, Martyr played it like shit.
I was gonna say he played that 2-on-1 terribly.
Yeah,
he
didn't do
really
great.
do too much.
I don't. But like, regardless, that 2-on-1 is still gonna happen, and whether they score that way or they score a different way, because
Yeah, but I have a lot more faith in Anthony. I have a lot more faith in Anthony Stolar stopping the shot straight up from I don't even know who made the pass than the pass gets through the Cousins and the goal goes in like it did, right? Like Martyr didn't take the pass, he takes the shot, which I don't understand.
I just want to say, Mateo, I like that shout for OEL on the top unit because like that didn't even really occur in my mind for some reason, but I want to give him his flowers too. He's played amazing this
He
year.
really has.
Fantastically, like he's been great moving the puck, but defensively, I've noticed him so much. He's been good on the box outs. He's been really good at preventing rush chances too. Like he's just a good active stick. He's poking pucks off of guys a lot, and I'm noticing just a lot of good like forcing outside plays. Either it's forcing a player to the outside or forcing a puck to the outside, but through like poke check, whatever. He's been physical. Yeah, he's played amazing. I've really liked his game.
Yeah. I don't know if I think I just keep the 5 forward. I think we've seen them try so many different things this season, and I think the 5 forward, like by and large, is what worked the best. I just think there are 2 plays there that you can't it doesn't matter who you have back there. And I understand the argument that Marner didn't play it that well on the 2-on-1, but I just think they're two dumb plays that cause opportunities regardless. Like on in game 4, it was the other shorthanded one. I don't know, like it's a breakaway. Like it's not like Mo or OEL's gonna catch them getting back, or they're gonna have a different read. It was just a bad play, get puck out of the zone, you get flew by, and I'd argue that Marner is probably a better skater than any of the defensemen we have anyways. So like I just think that I get the power play has gone cold. I just think that you got to go with what's worked the most for you. And I think it's fine. I just think they need to start going back to what worked before, and that was a lot of off the draw, puck to the net, scramble in front, goes off somebody, or feed it down low, throw it in front. Like, and I think you know what? I think Nyes is still doing it. JT is still doing it. It's a lot more of the other three with Marner, Matthews, and Nylander who are playing with it a little bit too much at the top of like closer to the blue line. Or at the top of the zone, and I just think you need to get the puck lower, throw it on Allmark, just keep going. And you know what? I think they also had a couple of bad bounces last game. Like I think there was one shot there where Yarncroke, I think OEL takes the shot, Yarncroke tips it, and then it goes off of Holmberg's stick, like the shafts of his stick, like right in front, and it looked like it was going to go in. And it's just like sometimes you just have nights where it's just nothing's going your way, and it's just how it is. And I don't think you should really do too much.
The key for me, it's not even necessarily just about getting like pucks through screens or whatever. It's like even when, you know, how many times did I see last night that they were like forcing passes into the front of the net with Senator sticks everywhere, and it's just like, why are you trying to force a pass and when it's gonna get intercepted when you can just try and shoot it on the net, hope to get a rebound, and you know the guy in front of the net might have a chance at that rebound instead of forcing a pass onto his stick when there's 3 Senator sticks blocking it. I've never understood it. There were so many plays yesterday where there were guys like wrapping around the net, and instead of just getting a shot on, they tried forcing a cross-seam pass or pass to the front of the net. And it's like, dude, just put it on the net. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
If you get it on, you're gonna create havoc.
Yeah, something messy might happen.
You get a bank in or something. You can get a rebound. You know, like there's no way Allmark is gonna glove every single shot that you throw at him. There's gonna be rebounds in the game.
Yeah.
That was frustrating me so much yesterday too. It was a lot of it felt like there was a lot of plays being forced when it didn't need to be forced, or it just wasn't the smartest play.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think they got like I think I said it about Matthews and Marner. They were like a lot like, just way too pretty.
Yeah.
But I think that goes for a lot of the lineup. I think we already discussed about Lorentz on the 2-on-0 with Yarncroke, way too pretty. I think Domi hasn't had a very good series outside of the OT winner, and I think he's that. Yeah, Domi hasn't been very good outside of the OT winner. I think you need more from him. And I don't know if that's just by you put Robertson back on there with McMahon. McMahon's been, we already talked about him last episode, but he's been very disappointing to me. I don't think he's done too much. I think you need something.
I thought he had a better game last night, though.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think his speed is definitely helps in that lineup with a lot of guys who aren't really that fast. Like I think your top line is fast with Matthews, Marner, and Nyes, and then as you continue to fall down the lineup, it gets slower and slower. I think you need some scoring from them, because at the end of the day, Berube said it was a team issue, and listen, the big guys have to perform because they've made the most money. They prevent you from having more depth in the lineup, and that's always why it comes back to them, because they always get every single penny they can get from this team. There's never taking discounts. There's never making it a little bit easier for the front office to go get other guys because they want every single dollar that they're owed, or they think that they're owed. But at the end of the day, the bottom 6 in a lot of these closeout games, yes, it's the Stars, but sometimes you also need a big goal from your third line. And I think when Max Domi, when your only asset there really is score, like he's not really a defensive guy. He isn't too physical. He tries his best, but I don't think he's not like hitting everything that moves. I think you just need a lot more from him. And I think you're seeing Berube try his best to get a lineup combination that works with Domi in that lineup. I think you're seeing him move him up to the second line left wing, your Holmberg back down to the third line center, and I don't think he's found that mix yet. And I think you need more from Max regardless of the series, if you want to go on a run, you need this bottom 6 to start putting the puck in the back of the net. Like regardless, and listen, I'm not asking Lorentz or Lawton or Yarncroke to lead the series in scoring or even have 3 goals, but two,
You need a
like
goal
two in a
somewhere though.
series. Yeah, you need something
Out,
somewhere. Go ahead.
outside of the first goal of the series,
Yeah, OEL
Lawton
scored it
to
off
OEL,
Lawton's. Yeah,
I don't think they've really had much of.
offensive
I
impact.
don't. I'm trying to think right now back to everything besides their offensive zone time, which we talked
Mhm.
about the fourth line. I guess you could call it the Lawton Lorentz Yarncroke line.
Yeah.
They've been great at it, but outside of that, it was really just that one play, and then they haven't scored since. And you did make a good point. It is, your bottom six does need to show up at certain points too. Like that kind of also helps you win series. It's not just always the top guys. You got to have big moments from your bottom six guys as well. And I think I wouldn't mind maybe seeing the McMahon, Robertson, Domi line just because we know that's worked so well at points this season. Maybe you get lucky and they get hot because when that line gets hot, they are pretty hard to be. They're pretty hard to stop from scoring. And again, I have the confidence in Craig Berube that he would be able to manage those two bottom six lines well enough to where that Lawton Lorentz Yarncroke line will probably get more of the defense. Not probably, they would 100% get more of like the defensive zone starts or a lot more of like the kind of defensive opportunities, and try and get that McMahon, Robertson, Domi line out there as much as you can on offense. Maybe give your star guys a break or whatever on a play and hope you get a lucky goal. But yeah, I honestly don't know if there's much you can do outside of that. Like at the end of the day,
this is a roster
just
you're
gotta
stuck
get
with.
back
We're not
on your game.
mid-season where the trade deadline's coming up. You know, like you gotta
Yeah,
find some
yeah.
room here.
Team you have, the team you got. I can't believe they didn't find a place for Max Domi during the regular season. I mean, they obviously just settled on the third line center position, but I think
it looked like they did for a bit. But
I really think he's sinking out there, though. Like, I don't think he's had a good series. I mean, you guys said everything that I've been thinking. Like, if his only asset is offense and he's not scoring, what do you do here? And it's a shame because I think he's the perfect Leaf. Like, we've talked about it so much. He
much
loves
that
being
I
a
want
Toronto
him on
Maple
this
Leaf
team
so much.
forever.
Oh my God, yeah, he's and when he's at his best, he's a great player. But I think he has to be on the wing.
when he was throwing those uppercuts to Adam Gaudette, I was in heaven. I was in heaven.
Oh, we didn't even mention Matthew Nyes just completely trucking Shane Pinto.
Dummying Shane Pinto.
Oh my God.
That was the only moment yesterday that Leaf Square was like
Oh, yeah, you guys were both there.
Mateo was zone 2, but I was zone 1, and that was literally
It was
I think
still
the
hype,
only
yeah.
play all. That was the only play all game
Yeah.
that had Leaf Square like going. Besides
Yeah.
that, it was pretty brutal.
I think we've said all we can on the Leafs, really. I just want to
Yeah.
point out that Jacob said he was right about the Edmonton Oilers, and they are currently up 3-2 in the series. I know we didn't plan on talking about the rest of the NHL, but I just really need to get that off my chest that Jacob was taking his victory lap. Like, the Canes just swept them, and the Oilers are up 3-2 in the series, and Jim Hiller is losing it in the media.
He was crashing, dude. Like they were like perfectly reasonable questions.
Yeah,
Like, not even
100%.
not even outlandish questions. They
Yeah.
were basic ass hockey questions, and he was like crashing out.
What was he saying? I missed
Especially
that.
one report. He was just like being really snarky to the.
Oh my God.
Well, they were talking about the challenge that he had, where they're like, there's a goalie interference, and they're like, did you take into consideration like
I
going on?
actually did see this.
And he just lost it. And he's like, we thought it was a challenge. It's like, no, dude. Like, you can't. I have a.
Why are you getting so
hard
pissy,
time-
Jim?
There was
How
another,
are you getting so pissy, Leon?
there was another question he had where I think someone was asking like, how do you
About
you
Byfield
know,
trying to get the puck out. I
no,
think
there
it
was
was.
another question where it was like, how do you prevent like, how do you hold
Yeah.
on to your lead better in these games? And he was like,
If the puck gets out, we weren't even talking about it. Yeah.
no, he was like, next question, and he was
Yeah.
like, it's always from you. He was like calling out the reporter. He was like, it's always from you, isn't it? I was like, bro, that was a basic ass question.
Doesn't matter what I say, you're gonna write fucking shit anyways.
Basic.
I know. We want to keep it a little bit short, but do we want to do like a brief touch on the rest of this space? Up, or do
I
you want to just wrap it?
honestly,
The only one has been wrapped up, no?
Yeah, only one's been wrapped up.
It looks like Washington and Montreal is gonna get wrapped up here.
Looks
too.
like it, yeah. Can we save that for another show? I think I have to wrap.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. All right, guys. Hopefully they don't choke. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for
what
listening
this
to the
episode's
pod.
gonna
We
be
hope you
called.
guys enjoyed it. Leafs in 6. Let's go.
Leafs.
Oh
Puck's
my
on
god.
net.